Hi guys, and welcome to another podcast from the Heralds of Wraith with myself, Sam, and my buddy Liam.
Hello!
Hello, how are we doing, Liam?
I am very, very good.
Good, same. Really enjoyed a good bunch of tournaments recently. So I guess we'll jump straight in with the what we've been up to recently. So I had an Excelsior event last Thursday. You couldn't make it in the end, unfortunately, but
I was a little poor.
I went down. It was a CC event on Thursday evening, and it's all a blur at this point because we've played a few events over the weekend and stuff. But yeah, I took my Dash CC deck down, went 2-2, got myself 6 XP on the XP grind for Nationals qualification. Was hoping to do a bit better than that, but I'll take the 6 points after a bad run recently. What about you, Liam? We had pre-release weekend, didn't we? So what did you get up to?
So I did the Excelsior pre-release on the Saturday, which you couldn't make because you were go-karting and working, unfortunately.
Other hobbies and other commitments, I'm afraid.
I pulled utter garbage. And didn't exactly have the greatest of days. It's one of those horrible things of working silly hours for my job and young family and constantly being bloody tired. Came in, pulled some bits. I thought, oh yeah, I've got some Lexi stuff. I won't do Briar on point of principle. Pulled some bits together, played my first game, got destroyed by Briar inside of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then threw the Lexi in the corner and built a Briar deck.
Yeah, sounds fair.
And then won my next 3 games, I think. No, 2 games. I won my second game in a Briar mirror match, and it was basically just arcaning people to death. I went lightning heavy.
Yeah.
Just for the go again pumps, just like lots of mid-range attacks.
Yeah.
Then ended up playing someone in my third game, which again was a Briar mirror match, and it came down to who saw their arcane damage first. And my opponent saw theirs a turn before me. Yeah. And so just pumped through. And it wasn't actually a bad game because it was one of those, they managed to kill me a turn before I was able to kill them just through the arcane damage and the fact that there's no way to stop it in this. And then managed to play it against Oldhim, but my deck just completely popped off and just went beast mode. So I ended up 2-2. I think the only thing I pulled of any usefulness was a Terra Sunder, which was good because it's going straight in my Bravo deck, and it's really, really good. It basically makes mini crippling crushes and just has to hit and gives you dominate. And
it's pretty scary.
I've been setting it up quite nicely because it also works with your bonking hammer.
And then so you got 6 XP as well for the grind towards Nationals, the slow grind.
6 XP. I kind of moaned quite a bit because it was just one of those. The only fun matchup was the Briar mirror match, just because it felt even. And then wasn't feeling too great. And then the following day we took quite a scary drive to Bournemouth.
We took a drive to Bournemouth, up Death Mountain. That was an experience, wasn't it? Going the A roads down to Bournemouth, and some interesting route choices by the sat nav, and some interesting corners, and a few moments where you're wondering if you're about to die. But we got there safely in the end.
Just about, and it was quite nice because we got to meet up with Marcus.
Marcus was great.
His partner. We've known them for about 10 years through X-Wing and L5R and stuff.
Various games, great guys. Well, great guy and lady.
So and then we did some.
Kalen was there as well. Was there as well.
Oh yeah, Kalen as well. Yeah, I forgot another one of our L5R buddies who's finding something to play now that FFG did typical FFG things and murdered another card game.
So it was nice to see those guys. And yeah, that was my first pre-release experience. And
And just in the
well,
time
well, the-
before we do that though, is that we've never actually been to Geek Retreat before. I think we did Level Up once.
yeah,
Very early days of Thrones when you were playing. I think we both went down for a Thrones event. I think,
possibly, yeah.
and it was a really really nice venue. The staff were amazing, really friendly. I can't remember her name, but we ended up chatting to the woman who was working behind the bar there, just geeking out and made to feel like a local and welcome. And it's a really nice thing when you've had a really long drive and you don't just have to sit there and wait
around.
and you actually feel like you're there with a purpose, and having friendly staff that actively come up and do. And then they came up and checked on us during the day, seeing how we were getting on, which was really nice and gave that nice welcoming atmosphere. So the
Yeah.
horrible 4.5 hour round trip was actually well worth it. Definitely go there again.
Yeah, fantastic venue, great staff, as you say. Somehow recognised me from somewhere, probably some Crime Watch lineup or something. But they were great, as you say. Came up and checked on us when we were pulling packs and throughout the day. And talking of pulling packs,
so we sat down. Marcus came up, gave us our promos, put a big pile of 12 boosters in front of the two of us. We had a table to ourselves with our nice, shiny Heralds of Wraith playmats, which are absolutely beautiful.
They are.
Even if we do have to look at our ugly, characterized mugs every game now. And so you instantly snapped up the top 6 packs.
Straight on it, mate. Super excited.
I then opened the 7th pack. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, fair enough then. And then opened the 8th pack and just casually pulled a tree.
Liam got wood.
I got wood twice in the space of 30 seconds. might have squealed a little bit.
Yeah, that was an amazing
nice
moment.
That went straight into a
top loader.
Into a top loader, and then managed to sell it the same day, which was quite fortunate given the very, very silly and unlike me financial predicament I put myself in by playing this bloody game.
Yeah.
So that's taken a lot of pressure off, which was quite nice.
Good.
And then we pulled some more bits. I think I ended up with the fabled mythic. I got Winter's Widow's Wail, Oldham's Hammer, and then foil Frostlock or Ice Frost. And then built Briar again. Went Briar Lightning again, because I first 2 packs I pulled no lightning cards and seemed to pull nothing but lightning cards afterwards.
Yeah. I also went Briar because she's the only hero I've looked at, and I pulled her Majestic specialization. So I thought I may as well go for it, and that's Earth Fusion. So I lent heavily into Earth. I pulled mostly Earth cards anyway in terms of elementals, and only like one lightning non-attack action. So I had an even split pretty much. I think it was 10 to 11 attack actions to non-attack actions in terms of elemental and Earth. So I went big, whereas you went wide.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't really pull much other than that Majestic. Nothing else to write home about. Definitely not a tree. I built Earth because I wanted to smack people for big numbers consistently. How did you go in the event then? Obviously, we met each other at some point in the event, but how did you go other than that round?
Overall, I went 2-2. So first game I went up against Lexi, with a very new player. The game went quite slow.
Yeah.
Which wasn't too much of a problem, but I was getting hit for some very big dominate attacks. Got hit with a few frostbite tokens, which messed some plans up. But then I was able to start seeing my lightning combos, and after just basically dumping my hand to defend for a few turns, there was a key moment where he basically just had a whiffed hand, and that was a case of, okay, cool, right, I'm now going to start hitting you for massive combos, start getting off my embodiments of Earth, so I can start only needing to defend with one card, and manage to put it to bed. And it was that unfortunate bit where he put himself down to let an attack go through, and was like, I'll just put myself down to 2. What's the worst that can happen? And then I managed to actually, in the course of pulling all my packs, ended up with something like 3 or 4 of the yellow Inspire Lightnings.
Oh yeah.
So I had one in Arsenal, and it was a case of, okay, cool, fuse it, 2 arcane damage, game over.
Yeah, see you later.
Second game, play G.
Hey, yep.
Which was slightly frustrating, but it was going to happen at some point. And that was actually a really, really good game. You came out swinging with some big hits, whilst I wasn't really seeing any of the combos. And then I started seeing them, and it became very, very even. I think at the end of it, it was a case of you started seeing a lot of your arcane damage early on.
Yep.
And I hadn't seen any of mine to pull stuff through. No. So I got to a point where I think I was on 1 health and you were on 2.
Yeah.
And you drew your hand up and you had the 1 arcane damage, and then I drew my hand up and had the 2 arcane damage. But I think like 1 of 2 cards from the rest of your deck that could have actually naturally given it.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a really close game, which is good. It was a nice little back and forth. And at that point, I was like, oh, do you know what? I've got some Earth cards. I'm just going to chuck some of them in.
Yeah.
And then I can have the option of going wide and big at the same time.
Yeah.
And it worked, because the third game, I ended up playing another Briar player, and just completely and utterly popped off. I hit a massive combo in turn 1, playing all of my cards for 1 massive attack, and then he was just dumping his hands to defend the attacks each time, and I was just pulling it all through, and then coming in with the Rosetta to do the arcane damage as well.
Yeah.
And then final game was just really frustrating, because it was another Briar match. It was going really close with arcane damage, and I misplayed it, and through the game I defended with the wrong card.
Easy done.
I had a couple of cards in to set up for some attacks, and I planned it all out. I had a flex one red and a yellow. I needed to have kept the yellow and blocked with the red, but I blocked with the yellow, which left me 1 short, which meant I couldn't then come in with my Rosetta to do the arcane and the damage, which would essentially have been lethal.
Yeah.
The following turn, and as a result, I basically died to arcane damage the following turn, and it just really annoyed me, because I was very tired and I was beating myself up because it was a stupid mistake I shouldn't have done.
Yeah, it's easy done though. Especially there's a lot of text on these cards, and it takes a lot of. This is the most I've thought playing Fab. I think playing the pre-release of this set.
Yeah. So how about you then? So aside from meeting me in the second game, how did you get on? Because you had quite a successful day.
I did. Yeah. So first round I played. I can't ever remember his name, and I'm so sorry for it. Met him loads of times. At loads of L5R events in the past. Great guy. His name just always evades me, and I feel bad. And yeah, I was playing Briar. Was he playing Oldhim? I think it was Oldhim. And the game is mostly a blur, but my Earth deck was very heavy on big attacks. So I was quite often coming in for 11s and 12s with the arcane damage tacked on in front as well. So from what I remember, I just carried on putting on attacks out so big that he had to literally just dump his hand to defend every turn. And then you just kind of get the arcane damage through, and eventually you can't keep blocking. I think I came close to fatiguing, but the damage numbers were just too high that he couldn't stop it. And in the end, I think he went down to some health and he thought he was okay, and then I managed to do I think it was 3, and I managed to pull a card that had 1 arcane, and then go again and come in with the Rosetta Thorn to finish it off. Second game was obviously the one against you, where Earth versus Lightning had a bit of a bash, and yeah, that one obviously, as we just heard, went well for me. Third game, I played Briar Mirror, and that was against Bruno, and He was a really sound guy. Said very kind things about us on the podcast, and so shout out to Bruno. And he was a great player, and I didn't see much of what I needed to see early. I had a few clunky hands early on, and he was just playing super consistent, just putting enough pressure on me that I couldn't just kind of get through the bad hands and then come back. I nearly came back late, but as we know in this set, there's so much unblockable that by the time you're down 10 health, it's just, especially in Blitz anyway, it's hard to come back from like a 10 health deficit. It's just too hard, and I had a big attack, but it was not enough. He didn't have to block it because it wasn't lethal. So then he just chips away with the arcane, and I eventually die. And then the last round I played against Marcus, and he was running Lexi, and it's the first time I've really looked. I haven't looked at Lexi pre-event, and so it's the first time I've really seen any Lexi cards. So it was interesting. I wasn't sure what to expect. He got a couple of frostbites off on me, but I managed to kind of just deal with them as they came up. Either had an extra resource in hand, or I just blocked out his turn, waited for the frostbite to go away, and then came back at him harder next turn. Because it didn't really matter too much. I took a big hit early, but then after that I was just pumping out massive earth attacks for 11, 12, and yeah, he was just having to dump his whole hand just to stay alive. And then you get him to the point where you put down a 7 attack and he has to block it with 3 cards because he's only on about 5 life and he can't drop any more. And then he can't do anything with a one card hand back. I think he arsenaled a poor card at some point as well mid game, which really hampered him. So yeah, that was just Briar being Briar. Really, it just kept going, kept rolling, and yeah, I found Earth fun. I can see the good side of Lightning, but I like coming in for big attacks.
Yeah, there's definitely some really strong synergies within Briar.
So that put me on 3-1 for the day. I came 3rd overall. My only loss was to Bruno, the guy who won overall. So can't complain too much about that. A nice handy 9 XP for the grind, and a 3rd cold foil amulet. So I've got 1 of each. But yeah, so that was the pre-release event. Then we'd driven 2 hours down there and had a 2-hour drive back. But some of the guys, we were still up for some games, and Marcus just suggested we run an armory event, a Blitz armory event, and we'd driven all that way. So I know you were a bit tired. I was hyped, obviously, after my great performance. You were a bit tired, but I managed to strong arm you into playing some more. And yeah, he put on a little army. So how did that one go for you? We'll start with yours. I've talked for a long time in a row there.
I'm wishing that you hadn't strong armed me, because it was a miserable affair.
Sorry.
I was considering doing Kano, but I was like, I don't really want to be a dick. I don't have all the pieces of the equipment with me. They were stuck at home. I was like, I'll make Bravo up quickly. Played against Marcus. He was playing the Crucible warrior, young hero or whatnot.
Oh yeah, Kasai.
So it was quite nice because we were suddenly working out. I was like, we've known each other and we've played in events with each other for about 10 years, and we've never once been paired against each other. And so this was the first time. So I basically spent the time chatting. I was basically blocking and then blocking and then coming in and just doing massive big hits.
Yeah.
And I think I ended out doing a crippling crush while he had 1 health left.
Yeah.
And closed it out. But then I was still quite low because he was just getting lots of Saber Go Again attacks off, which was probably the only good game of the evening.
Yeah.
And then I ended up playing a player who I lost to in the final round, and he was playing Kano, and yeah, that was the most miserable game I've ever played in my life. It was basically 3 minutes of him solitaring his deck and then smashing me for 15 arcane damage, and then his turn going in for solitaring for 5 minutes and then killing me off. I was like, brilliant, cool, cheers for that. That was amazing. was a waste of time.
Yeah, I don't think any of us sideboarded in any null rune, did we? So
well, didn't pack any, not expecting to play Blitz, so
yeah,
someone came more prepared than we did. And then I ended up playing Dorinthia, but by that point my brain was completely fried. I probably wasn't the best of opponents, so I apologise because I was still massively pissed off from that second game, and at that point it's just like I just want to go home. My brain is fried. I'm tired. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, and just got go again and whatnot to death. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Chris. So Chris was the guy that I played in the first round of the pre-release event, and also I played him in the first round of this Blitz. The guy you played in the last round. Just checked my my tournament history on the website quickly, just to remind myself. So I played the Dorinthia that you played in the first game, and obviously we got Ed, local player, great Dorinthia player. So I've played him a couple of times now. And so I kind of know what to expect from Dorinthia. And I was playing Dash. I put my Dash deck into a Blitz aggro deck for the Quick Blitz Armory event, and I just went full aggro. I didn't defend. When I defended just with everything. I used my whole hand to defend for that turn, and just hoped he didn't have the big play the next turn as well. And so that worked for the first turn or two, and then I went all aggro. I got some big attacks with boost, and I was running all Mechanologists, so the go again was guaranteed every turn when I wanted it. And so I just put Dash go burn, 4 go again, 4 go again, 6 go again. You know what I mean? Just keep putting those things at him. Still had the induction chamber out to do just 2 go again at the start, and then come in with all the other attacks and just put pressure on. And towards the end, he kind of chipped me down on damage because I was just taking the swords every now and again rather than blocking, because I didn't want the reprise effects to come off. And so I was down to about 5 or 6 health. And he'd kept 2 cards, I think it was, in hand, or he'd taken a big hit to keep some cards. And I deliberated for about 3 or 4 minutes. He'd put his attack out with his sword. It was just one attack with the sword. Nothing else coming in, just the sword, no tokens on it, no pre actions to give it go again. Just sat on 2 resources. He pitched a blue for the sword, 2 resources, and a card in hand. 2 cards in hand, I think it was. And I deliberated for a few minutes, and I decided this was the time to block. And I just went, right, I'm just going to block 9. It's a 3 attack. I'm going to block 9 because from what I think, I don't think he can do, 14 to me or whatever it was. Yeah, 14 to me to take the 5 health. So I was like, I'll block for 9 and I'll just go super safe. And then I got the pistol loaded up, and I've got a couple of 0 to 60s, I think it was. 1 in arsenal, 1 left in hand. So yeah, I blocked the 9. He did have an overpower, so I survived. And then just the pistol, the 0 to 60, the 0 to 60 was just enough to kind of just tip him over the edge and gain the advantage back. And then it was just constant 4 or 5 attacks a turn, just coming in, and he just had to defend with his whole hand. And eventually the pistol got him. It just relentlessly shooting the pistol. Second game I played Nicole, and she hasn't played against Dash very much, unfortunately, so she wasn't sure. She didn't know what the potential was, and she was also playing her Briar deck that she just built in the event. And as we all know, Briar needs her cards, and what Dash is good at is just forcing loads of attacks and just making you feel like you have to defend. So again, I think that was the game where I drew 3 0 to 60s in like turn 2 or something. So a shot with the pistol would go again, 0 to 60, 0 to 60, 0 to 60, and I've presented like 14, 15 damage on turn 2 or something stupid. And yeah, so I literally just go again, boosted to victory in that game. And then the third game I played against Nate, the guy that you played in game 2 with Kano. And again, another great local player, Adam. He plays Kano fantastically, and he's burnt me a lot with Kano in Bristol. So I know what I'm doing against Kano fairly well. And obviously also Dash. I didn't bring any null rune equipment with me, but obviously Dash comes with Arcane Barrier 3 built in with the Visitronic head and the boots. And so the deck still had a lot of blues in it. So I literally was just pitching a blue every turn to block 3 arcane, and then using my other 3 cards to attack, in combination of the pistol and the go agains. And unfortunately for Nate, he didn't read my equipment fully, and his pop-off turn only did like 6 or 7 damage to me or something. So I'm still on like 9 or 10 damage, and he was down to like 4 or 5. And I've just played out 3 or 4 attacks. I've shot with the pistol. I played out 3 or 4 attacks. I think it was a high octane turn, and yeah, I've just come out with loads of attacks, one after the other. And he's pitched his whole hand, not pitched, used his whole hand to block all of my attacks, thinking that I didn't have any more to do, because I didn't boost the last attack. So he thought I didn't have any more to do. I had a token on the gun, but I didn't boost the last attack. So he thought he was safe. He blocked everything, and then I just sneakily popped the boots because I boosted for the extra action point. He was on 2 health and just shooting for 2 with no cards in hand. So I managed to get the feels bad win on Kano, because he didn't really fully understand what my cards do. I managed to catch him out and steal a win and go 3-0 and win the event. Get myself a cold ball shiver, which was nice.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, mate, it was good for me. I still feel bad that I strong armed you into sticking around, but the extra 9 XP that produced put me on 18 XP for the day, and has bumped me up to 54. So don't know if it'd be enough to qualify, but I feel a bit better about my efforts now.
Yeah, I think I'm sat somewhere around 51 now.
Yeah.
But you know, on reflection for that, that's not actually too bad for us, given the fact that our local store was basically only running 1 event every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, our first proper event was Road to Nationals.
Yeah.
So
where I scored 0 XP.
Yeah, we've only got a handful of events under our belt. You know, it would have probably been a bit more comfortable if we'd have been doing weekly events from the beginning. And I suppose this comes into that wider discussion that, you know, being in the Southwest absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
The fact that after Excelsior, our closest accessible pre-release was Bournemouth, which was 2 hours and 15 minutes away.
Yep.
You know, we've got some massive stores near us. You know, I mean, Firestorm have got 3, but just for some reason, just atrocious at running events on their own initiative and stuff and whatnot. So there are very few options when you look at like Midlands, where you could feasibly within an hour go to 5, maybe 6 events in a week. And how can you compete with that?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can. But hopefully we got we got until the end of the month, haven't we? So we've got 2 events left, have we?
We've got 2 events, yeah.
Yeah. So
locally, might see if we can try and squeeze in a weekend one, maybe if we're allowed to. But we'll have to wait and see. We took a good 11th hour crack at it.
Yeah.
You know, we're going up anyway.
Yeah.
Hope for the best, expect the worst.
Yeah, and I don't even mind. I'll be sad if I don't qualify, but at the same time, my weekend will be a lot more chill. I'll have much more time, and we'll have much more time to hang out with people and chat to people. I'm well up for if anybody's up for some games. I think they're going to be doing draft pod side events on the Saturday and stuff, and there's talk of events on Thursday nights and stuff and Friday night.
So as it stands, I'm currently 120th, and you are 117th.
Yeah.
So, but then we don't know what the situation with points drop off is. We don't have anything to be dropped off. So there's all a load of unknowns. I think all we can do is just
see where we are.
But we're going to make a good weekend of it.
Yeah. We should get some Heralds of Wraith draft pods going on and stuff on the side events.
Yeah, could be good fun. Try and get some interviews and stuff. But we've got a lot of planning to sort out at the moment. We're just sorting out logistics of getting up there. The wonderful Kate, who's putting me up for the weekend, is organising some stuff at, I think, Geek Retreat Leeds. So there's going to be an on-demand blitz if we can get up in time on the Thursday night.
Nice.
Which will be good. But even at the least, if we don't make it in time, we can go up and socialise and possibly just play by ourselves. And I think they're also running a draft on the Friday night.
Cool.
So if we're not all completely like zoned out on having done Blitz on the Thursday day for the Battle Hardened, we can do the
Friday day.
Friday day.
Yeah. So with the breakdown of our results, then what's your opinion on Tales of Aria as a sealed set? I'm sure there's already lots of discussion online, but let's put our 2 cents into the pot.
So as a Tales, I really like. I really like the cards and the potential for CC and whatnot.
Yeah.
As a self-contained sealed, though, I think it's a complete crock of beep.
It's
Whoever decided that we're going to give one hero insane easy access to recurring arcane damage and only having one card that is a legendary available to one hero that basically goes to time in almost most of their games is an idiot and should be slapped. I think if you house ruled it, that you could bring in like one, even just like one piece of arcane barrier.
Yeah,
For everybody,
yeah.
but
I think I said on the weekend I'd like to see Iron Rot and Null Rune armor be available if you don't draw, if you don't have any other equipment. Because I drew one set of Rune Blade boots. That's the only equipment I had for my pre-release event. I drew nothing else that I could use. I drew 3 sets of boots, two of the Runaways and one of the Rune Blade, and then I drew a hood that I couldn't use, and what was the other one? Some chest that I couldn't use, and I only pulled 5 pieces in total. So yeah, I had boots and the common boots at that, and that was it. So I'd like to see Null Rune and Iron Rot be available in sealed events just to fill out your slots.
yeah, I think Bournemouth was more diverse field than
Bristol.
than Excelsior was.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, 8 of my games, 6 of them were against Briar.
Yeah, no, I think I played.
Kind of tells you
all
everything you
3.
need to know, really.
Yeah.
It's just Briar in that environment. Briar, has lots of cheap go again that can go into big attacks, can trigger off all the arcane, and make it thoroughly miserable.
Yeah.
Draft
At one point,
go on.
sorry, at one point I played a non-combat, a non-attack action that did nothing, but it was a 0 cost non-attack action. It was my second turn. I played it literally as a go again card. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. And then to turn on all the other abilities.
Yeah.
I think one of my plays I ended up doing a 0 cost. It was the next attack that hits deals when it hits deals 3 damage.
Electrify.
Into one of the brambles, which is next attack. It gets when it attacks, deal 1 arcane damage.
Yeah.
Into a shock, the shock bird that was coming in for 5, and I was able to do the instant for when it hits to do a damage. It's already doing 3 damage plus the 1 arcane damage, and suddenly I've got 4 counters on an embodiment of Earth.
Yeah.
For 1 attack.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's just some of the combos that you're able to get off is just crazy. And yeah, Lexi did some good things, and there's some results, but Briar was above and beyond.
Yeah.
It just seems like a real bizarre choice.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I mean, draft might be a different beast because not everybody can take Briar.
Yeah.
So it's gonna balance it out a bit more because you're gonna see a little bit more variety. At the very least, it's not going to be, oh, look, I'm playing Briar again this round. Oh, look, I'm playing Briar again this round.
I've not drafted much in the past, so I'm interested to see it either way. But yeah, I think it'll be better than the sealed experience.
So that bit, it should be okay. But yeah, as a sealed one, I have 0 intentions of playing an event where this is just sealed.
Yeah. It just 25 quid.
It just doesn't seem. It's not fun.
No.
I mean, the only fun, I say fun in the loosest possible term, was the mirror match. because it was the only one where it actually felt like it was an even footing and an even game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some people liked it, but for me, it's just one of those. It was just the arcane damage was just too much.
Yeah.
You know, when I can easily play it and I'm doing 2 arcane damage a turn, and when you've only got 20 health, you know, if I can take 10% of your life total every turn, and there is nothing you can do about it, how is that fair?
Yeah, and then that arcane boosts your defense as well. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah. What's next? Oh, so I was up late last night because I watched the NFL and the Packers were on Monday Night Football, so I woke
You're
up
a very
to watch
happy
that.
boy, aren't you?
I am very happy. Yeah, we smashed the Lions as always, never in doubt. But whilst I was watching the game, some certain news pops up, and what was that news? What did we see this morning?
So I didn't. I went to sleep very early as a responsible adult, and woke up to find that LSS went, Chain, get in the sea. He has been nerfed to oblivion, and I had my morning coffee with a big ass smile on my face.
Everybody's a bit happier today, apart from chain players, but they've had enough happy times.
If they want sympathy, they should go and buy a dictionary. you know what I mean? So Duskblade has been
banned from CC.
Still eligible in Blitz. They didn't bother playtesting it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to LSS. I mean, not fair play, they made a mistake, but then fair play, they noticed a mistake, and then now rather than let it ruin some nationals or all nationals, they've gone, actually, we'll put our hand up. We made a mistake. This was bad. We're sorry. We'll take it out. We won't do it again. Promise. I'm fine with that. It sucks that there's a card in a set that we haven't even really had a chance to buy yet. It's not out officially yet. Be banned, but at the same time, I'd rather see them take the action now rather than later. They haven't made a mistake, then pretended it wasn't a mistake, then tried to cover it up, then just gone, oh yeah, actually it was a mistake. They've gone, right, we made a mistake. We'll fix it now before it snowballs into a bigger mistake, and we'll try not to do it in the future. Next time they won't get such a free pass, but for now, I can appreciate a hands up and an apology.
Yeah, and I suppose from us as well is we come back to beating the same old dead horse that is FFG and their approach to competitive games and balance, and you know, having someone just come out and go, do you know what, we screwed up this, but also as well is coming out and giving the rationale in a timely manner as well. Normally with FFG, you have to wait for ages for them to do their process, and then you get a half-assed one, or they're, you know, we're going to balance a really broken card by making it limit 1 per deck.
Yeah,
you know, that's how we're going to do it. And you might not always see it, but when you do, it's going to be game breaking. Yeah,
no, that's not a good balance mechanic. So yeah, fair play to LSS. You know, slap on the wrist for making the mistake in the first place, but it's usually the true indicator is how you react to the mistakes you make rather than the mistake itself. And this reaction is perfect in my eyes. They've put their hand up. They've dealt with it. And it sucks if you pull a cold foil one this week, but I mean, you can still use it in Blitz, and you're not ruining everybody's day when you turn up to an event with it.
Yeah, and I think that coupled with the fact that they've now banned all 3 pitch values of Seeds of Agony, which is one of their real big things with arcane damage and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice they've done that now, and you know, they've given quite an articulate response as to why they've waited and why they've done it now, not waiting until after nationals. You know, and there are some people who are still a little deluded, not thinking that chain was a problem.
Yeah.
You know, if 1,000 people are playing in an event in Las Vegas and 48% of them, so what, 480 people are playing chain out of the God knows how many heroes there are. You know,
12
that in itself is a glaring indication.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that the person who won the calling with Prism had to play 8 chain players in 12 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid. The fact that they can, again, stupidly cheap cards. They essentially have a second hand, and we saw it on stream. I think it was like round 3 or 4. There was a chain player that nearly won, and they were not good.
No fair. Yeah,
It was, you're looking at it and going, this is, you're playing terribly, and then just lucked out because they just so happened to banish like 6 god cards over the space of 2 turns, and then nearly one shot their opponent in 1 turn.
Yeah.
Through all of that, when you've got a hand of cards, 4, you can probably get 5, maybe 6, depending on your combos.
But it takes a lot of effort.
But it's rare. Where every game you can essentially have a hand of 12 cards plus.
Yeah, it's crazy for chase. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
it's really skewed. So it'll be nice to actually see how it changes up. Chain players might have to think now, as opposed to going, okay, all I've got to just banish this and banish all of these cards and hope I don't banish my Art of Wars.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to what the chain players come up with as well. I hope that half of them don't jump off the bandwagon and they do kind of stick with it. And because obviously Chain is a good hero, he does. I'm maybe a bit naive in saying that one card doesn't make a hero. I'm sure there is still some great lines of play for Chain, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the other players come up with. And maybe this will slow the game down a little bit because it is kind of pretty aggro at times, isn't it? There's quite a few matchups that are a race,
and it comes into play. There will be a mass exodus of Chain players.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with, and it's one of those. It shows the status of the game. That if something is a problem, they will address it, and
I'm really loving playing a game where the developers clearly know what they're doing. And all right, they made a mistake. That was silly, but they were trying to force something in that they shouldn't have done. They kind of overstepped their abilities a little bit, but they are very good at balancing the game quite clearly. Even Chain aside, the heroes are still pretty balanced overall. You've still got a wide selection of people winning road to nationals and things like that. And the game feels really good. So this response to a mistake just fills me with more confidence that going forward the game is only going to get better, which is insane considering how good I think the game is already.
Yeah, I completely agreed. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, especially with Tails dropping on Friday.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to it.
On that note, though, what are you going to be building from it?
Well, I'm gonna be going Briar. The Ranger. I sold my Ranger, my cross wrap just before.
Well, you locked out good on that one, didn't you? Like the day before, wasn't it? Something like that.
It was, yeah. It was the day before the spoiler, and it sold for a decent price. It sold for a very decent price compared to the price the next day, but it sold for a decent price on the day anyway. So happy with that. Got lucky with that. Feel bad for the guy who bought it, but that's the risk you take in it. I've probably sold cards undervalued that have rocketed since on the other side. But yeah, so I'm going to be collecting Briar because I got rid of my Ranger stuff, and as you've said previously, you're playing Guardian, so don't really want to dive in on that. And there's already a few Guardians in Bristol. It's kind of the most represented class. So pre Briar spoiler, I was like, if the third class isn't Wizard, then I'm playing it. So I'm gonna be building a Briar. I've got my full Dash deck. I'm only like 2 cards short of my complete Warrior collection for Bolton and Dorinthia. So yeah, I'll be focusing on Briar for this set. Probably mostly Earth Briar with a little sprinkling of Lightning.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I'm probably going to go down the similar path, going to Briar.
Yeah.
Because although in the sealed environment, pardon me, I've just got the hiccups all of a sudden.
Nope.
Although I really wanted to go Oldhim, it's really slow and it's building more towards that super defensive, boring nature.
Yeah.
And I hate those matchups when Bravo v Bravo, when I'm playing the aggressive and I'm against basically the brick wall, and it becomes really hard and tedious and having every game go to time. And do I want that? No, because that's probably going to have an adverse impact on me mentally for enjoying the game.
Yeah,
so I'll dabble in it a little bit. So as we prepare for For nationals, I've got a fully proxy printed Briar deck and an Oldhim deck. I'm working on a Lexi one as well.
Yeah.
But I'll probably end up just getting the cards that I need to make Bravo. So
Nice.
the Terra Sunders just make him into a whole new beast, and it's actually I'm more excited for that. But what I've played of Briar, I've actually the lines of play and the combo potential that I've seen in that, I'm actually really looking forward to exploring that a bit more.
Yeah, I think she's really going to be quite interesting in CC. I don't think she's going to be anywhere near the powerhouse she is in Sealed Tales of Aria, but I think in CC she'll be interesting enough to be fun to play and interest to play against. But she won't just instant slaughter you.
Yeah. So at the moment, because I've played Lightning quite a lot from both of the pre-releases, I'm probably going to look at Earth first.
Yeah.
But I think one of the bits with us between us, we've got quite a few decks that we can explore. So I think between us, we can probably have both of those avenues covered off for Briar.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm excited to try. I'm hoping I hear some good news soon about getting hold of some stuff from Europe, because we've gone over this before about how our
allocations
have gone, and then you see places like Rules of Play who are selling their boxes for £200 on their website.
Yeah, you can get out of time with that activity,
like absolute scumbag lizards.
Yeah.
And then just other places. It's just really expensive, and it's that hard bit when we've got a legitimate local store and it's hard for them to get stock, and then everywhere else just like drowning in it, and it makes it hard. But we've had this conversation about unlimited versus first edition, so I'll keep quiet on that front. But I'm just excited to open some packs.
Yeah, I'll take my one first edition box that I've managed to get, and I don't know. I might sit on it. I might open it. See how I feel on the day.
Yeah, I think for nationals, I'm probably gonna stick with Bravo. I need to work out what I want to do for the Battle Hardened, because I don't seem to have much luck in Blitz. I'm not sure at the moment. It's kind of if it's more mental, because as I've enjoyed CC more, I've come to despise
Blitz as a
and so I don't really play it properly.
Yeah, possibly.
But
I'm going to play Dash in both events.
I've got Prism. I've got Bravo. I mean, if I can pull the shield, then happy days. But for me, it's just trying to get those Terra Sunders. I think what I'll probably do with any boxes I get, all of the money cards I will sell.
Yeah,
and then use that to just buy singles for unlimited.
Yeah, I expect it will be pretty easy to get rid of some first edition stuff pre-nationals, since we won't have unlimited before nationals.
Yeah, but then it's hoping that we've got enough for us. So I think as a group, we're going to start coming together and going, okay, what is it we want to take? What can we share for people? Because I know for me, if I want to take Prism for that build, I probably need to try and get my backup plan and try and borrow a Spring Tunic from somewhere, and just making sure that us as players can just cover ourselves off, so we can just give each other the support that we need to do as well as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so I guess we got a couple of. We spoke briefly about the weekly events coming up at Excelsior. So that's going to be what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks, and then obviously the big nationals at the end of October. I haven't got much more to talk about, Liam. You got anything more to add?
Did I mention I pulled a tree?
I think we talked about your words. Yeah,
I've got wood.
Oh, choking on that joke there, that fabulous joke there. Perfect. Well, I guess we'll get out your guys' ears at this point, because we've rambled for quite a while now. But as always, Liam, thank you.
And thank you very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.